Okay, I see a lot of people as attendees. So again, thank you for all coming. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to NJCU's EdTech Doctoral Winter Webinar Series. My name is Melissa Wells, and I'm a doctoral student in the Cohort 10 group of NJCU's EdTech Leadership Program. I'm also the graduate assistant for the department for this year as well. So you're going to see my face in the beginning of these webinars as your host. So this evening, we're thrilled to have you all here today and are excited to share some valuable information with you from our doctoral students and also our fellow graduated doctorates that came from our NJCU EdTech Leadership Program. This series is designed to provide you with the latest insights, strategies, and best practices in technology. So whether you're new to the field or you've been working in it for some time, we believe that you're going to find something of value here. So throughout the series, we will be covering a wide range of topics and we'll be featuring experts from technology, educational fields who are going to share their knowledge and experience with you. We will also be providing you with the opportunity to ask questions and interact with our speakers towards the end of their sessions. So please feel free to comment in the Q&A sections and also in the webinar chat, which I will open that up in a couple of minutes. This evening, we are presenting Using Technology to Build Students' Research Skills Across the Curriculum, presented by Dr. Barbara McCarty. Now, Dr. Barbara McCarty, she has been presenting everywhere. Her biography is amazing, and I will give you guys a link again in the webinar chat so you can read upon her bio towards the end. Now, again, before I introduce you to Dr. McCarty, if you have any questions during the presentation, type them below into the 2 question boxes in your Zoom control panel. And also, again, if you want to talk towards the end, you have to just press the raise hand button and Dr. McCarty or I can allow you to talk towards the end, but not during the session. So we will have this all at the end. I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Samantha Kozar real quick to speak about the programs in our EdTech department.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so very much for taking your time this evening to join us for our doctoral winter webinar series. You're in for a treat with Dr. McCarty. She's a vast wealth of knowledge, and I know that you are going to be thrilled by taking away some actionable insights that could be implemented immediately into your K-12 learning spaces. So I look forward to hearing some of this wonderful feedback if you'd like to share in regards to what you've learned from any of the sessions that you've seen this evening. The doctoral programs at New Jersey City University and the Department of Educational Technology are award-winning. We've been in the field for over 20 years, and we are very proud to offer the doctoral in EDD and EdTech leadership. And if you have questions about this very popular program, Dr. Schamberg, seen here in our photo, kneeling down in the pink, he is our doctoral coordinator, and he can be reached at Chris Schamberg is cschamberg@njcu.edu. And our illustrious department chair is Dr. Laura Ziegler, pictured here to the left of the Gothic Knight. She is our department chair, and that she could be reached at lziegler@njcu.edu. We are proud to also offer our brand new STEM certificate program as a part of the Master of Arts in Educational Technology and also as a standalone graduate certificate program. If you have questions in regards to the STEM certificate as a Master of Arts in Educational Technology program or as a standalone graduate certificate, in addition to our awesome school library and media specialist offerings or our assistive technology certificate, please feel free to reach out to me at skozar@njcu.edu. And I know Melissa will be so helpful to leave that in the chat if anybody has any questions. Once again, thank you very much for taking the time this evening to devote your attention to continued professional learning. And I'll turn it over to Ms. McCarthy and Ms. Wells. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your evening.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Samantha Kozar. And again, I will send those links in the chat towards the end because I want everybody focusing on the presentation, which I cannot wait to get to. So now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Dr. Barbara McCarty.
Hello and welcome to everyone. let me, you know what? I'm going to start by just bringing up my presentation. If you give me a moment, and then I will introduce myself and all the good stuff. Okay, so welcome to Using Technology to Build Students' Research Skills Across the Curriculum. I have given you the bit.ly link if you would like to my presentation. I have provided a whole bunch of links in here and resources. And so you'll definitely want the presentation so that you can go back and access them. And of course, you're welcome to email me. I've been working in middle school for 26 years. I started as a 7th grade language arts teacher, and then I moved into the media center in the last 12 years. I have my master's in library science and my doctorate in educational technology leadership from NJCU. And so I thought I would go through how I use technology to get students to start gaining the important research skills that they really need. And, you know, if you have taught students at all, you will know that getting students to understand research skills and how their research works is an incredible need. Even though they are now digital natives, there used to be this stream of thought that once our digital natives came to be college age, they would be experts at researching and using the internet, and we wouldn't have to teach everything that we do. However, back in 2012, they did a study on the first digital natives who've made their way to 5 Illinois universities. And what they found is, almost without exception, students exhibited a lack of understanding of search logic, how to build a search or to narrow or expand results, how to use subject headings, how search engines work, how they organize and display results. It was really incredible what they didn't know. And I mean, this could be repeated today, and it has in many studies. Looking at a study that was done in 2021, they gave just under 3,500 high school students 6 constructed response tasks that required them to research and use the answers and analyze their answers from their research. And what they found is that when students went on to a climate science site that was backed by the fossil fuel industry, 96% never learned about the organization's ties, so they could not determine the bias that was on that site. 2/3 of the respondents were unable to distinguish news stories from ads on popular websites' homepage. They, half of them believed that, over half believed that an anonymously posted Facebook video provided strong evidence against U.S. voter fraud. So we found that things really haven't changed since 2012. Our students are still struggling with how to use the information that they find on the internet and how to analyze it. A colleague of mine, Dr. Karen Cotter, she made this great analogy that makes just so much sense to me. And she compared digital natives to teen drivers. You know, there's an argument that our digital natives will be fine with technology. And the truth is, they're more comfortable. They're more willing to dive in and try things, but they don't inherently know how to navigate the internet for research. They don't inherently know how to use the information that they find. And the analogy that she made was with teen drivers, right? She said, our children, they've been in cars since, they were 2 days old, literally almost their whole life. They've been driven around, they've been moved, they know how cars work, they've ridden in them, they're comfortable in them. But yet, I don't know about any of you, but I have 2 teenage boys, and I would never just assume that I could put them in the car and set them free and let them drive all over. It's the same thing with our students and technology. They need direct instruction. Our teens, even though they've been in a car, need direct instruction on how to drive. And our students, even though they've had technology since they were little, they need direct instruction in how to navigate and work it. And so when we're looking at digital literacy and when we're looking at research skills, they really need direct instruction in 3 different categories. They need to know how to build better searches. They need to know how to evaluate websites, and direct instruction and help with technology on note-taking and organization. And so these are the 3 sections that I hope to cover in my presentation and give you some tools in your toolkit to help your students navigate the internet and use technology to improve their research. Now, before I dive into those 3 categories, I want to introduce one of my new favorite tools that kind of spans over all of those 3 categories, and that would be LearnX. And what LearnX does is it makes research process visible. It works by having a student extension and a teacher extension, and I link those in my presentation so that you could easily download them if you're interested in trying it out. And so what it does is when a teacher creates an assignment in the teacher link, in the teacher extension, and sends it out to the student extension opens and it begins logging the student's activity online. And when the assignment is over, the student will turn in they'll end the LearnX logging, and they will get all kinds of data back. The student gets data and the teacher gets data on each student and gets data on the whole class as a whole. You will get information about like how much time was spent on the whole assignment, the search terms that the students used, and it puts them either in a word cloud or gives them to you as a list. All the sites that were visited and when they were visited and how long the student was on them. There's an opportunity to put on post-assignment questions so that they can reflect on the information that they received back from LearnX. And LearnX will also create a bibliography for the students, a works cited page based on the websites that they visited and the ones that the students choose to put into a bibliography. So I wanted to give you a little taste of what it looks like. I am going to navigate between all kinds of screens. So I'm sorry if things get a little slow and get a little crazy. So I'm going to open up what a LearnX assignment looks like. So there we go. So when the student clicks on the LearnX assignment, it will ask them to start logging and begin the assignment now. So I'm going to do that. And you'll see there's a blue bar up here that says you are currently logging with LearnX. So it tells the student that what they're doing is being logged in their LearnX log. And so now I'm just going to start searching. And why don't I just head on over to NJCU's EdTech website. I hope it's going to work because I have a bunch of screens open. Let's try this again. NJCU.
I actually put it in the chat box as well. So
you put what in
the ed tech department.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there
so
you go.
they'll be able to see it as well.
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm going to show them how LearnX works. So I am like,
Perfect.
Okay, so now I'm logging. I'm going to the Department of Ed Tech. I'm going into the doctoral program. Notice it says that I'm logging with Learnix, right? And if I'm doing my research, I can go down. Oh, there I am a long time ago, right? I'm doing my research on the page. Maybe I want to find out about the Summer Institute. And maybe I want to go back and I want to look at NJCU Ed Tech STEM certificate. So I'm searching. I just want to show you the kind of information that you can get. So I need to put some searches in here. So bear with me. We'll go to the STEM certification. We'll look at this website for a moment. And then we will go to another link. There we go. We're in the STEM certificate, and I'm going to look at who you're going to study with, who are the professors, right? And all this time I'm logging with Learnix, and I'm going through and I'm gathering my information. Okay, so let's say as a student, I am all finished my assignment now. I go back to my Learnix assignment and I submit my assignment. It says, are you ready to submit? And I hit okay. And I know it's acting a little wonky because I have a million things open. There we go. And here's what I get as a student. As a student, I get the number of sites that I visited, how much time I spent. I get my search terms that I used in case I need to go back and analyze that and look at for new searches. I can see what sites I was on and the percentage of my time I spent on them. There is a timeline to show like the order of where I went. And here are all the sites that I had visited, and I can go back to them through links. So that's what the student receives. I also have the opportunity to answer post-assignment questions that my teacher put in there. I often ask my kids, you know, when I'm introducing this, what type of data did Learnix collect while you were searching? And maybe I'm going to say search terms, just for the sake of putting something in there. Okay. So that is what the student has. Now, let's take a look at what the teacher sees. This is the class-wide report. I'm going to refresh it. There we go. And so what I can see for each of my students, I did this earlier and then I just did it now. I can see I gave them an expectation that I would expect them to work from 3 to 15 minutes. And this Barbara McCarty, she did a good job. She almost made the 3 minutes. This one fell short. So I can see all my students across there. I can go and look at all kinds of visualizations. I can see what sites they did. I can see how long the students spent compared to each other. These would be all my students by time in all different kinds of graphs. I could see how long the sites were spent. I can see word clouds and their search terms that my whole class used. I also get my student responses that can be listed here. Barbara McCarty said the answer was search terms. And I can see, you know, all the sites that my students went to. So this gives me a peek into what my students are doing when they're away from me. And this is huge because, you know, usually as a media specialist, I give an assignment and then my students are off and somebody inevitably comes back at the end of the period and they're like, there was nothing on my topic. And there's not much I can do because they've been gone the whole period. And I have to ask them all these questions and try and figure out where they are. This way, I now have all this data. They have all this data that we can go back and now dig into their research process. And when they tell me that they searched and searched, but there's nothing on their topic, I can look at the search terms that they used and make suggestions. We can look at the websites that they were on and how much time they really spent on them, and give some direction on how to make it better. So it's a great tool that we're not, won't be used in isolation. It'll become part of all these other activities that I'm going to show you. For instance, if we take a look at how to use technology to build better searches, I use a Learnix and a scavenger hunt to kind of get a baseline from my kids to see what they know about searching. And so I give them like a scavenger hunt of all these different questions they have to go on websites to find. And then we look at their Learnix results. I especially like to pull up their word cloud to see what they search, because I don't know, I teach 8th graders. Most of the time when I do this, they're in such a hurry to search, they copy the whole question, including the number. And I could see that in their search terms that go up there. And we talk about why that might not be effective. I then do a lesson on how search works. I put 2 videos in here that we watch. One's older than the other, so maybe I'll watch one day, then they come, and then we'll do the other one. But it teaches them how search works. And then I use this awesome lesson. I have my own, but I base it on Google's lesson on picking the right search terms. And it talks about how to, now that we know how search works, how do we change our word choice in order to get better searches? And we end up looking at what matters in a search, and we practice different ones. And then I will send them back to Learnix and a new search, and I track their search terms and where they're going. And then we end up being able to compare their search terms from the beginning of the lesson to the end and talk about what makes better searches. So that's how like Learnix can be paired with all of these activities that you do. Google, I showed you just one lesson that they have. They have actually many lessons on search education. There's different levels. If you go in here, each lesson that they have has a beginner, an intermediate, and an advanced version, and they come along with pre-made slide decks that you can use and activities. So they really have put it all together for you. And then you could take them and modify them to fit your needs. I did link here a Google a Day challenge. I don't know if you know about these. Years ago, they used to be live. You could go on a Google a Day. They would put up a question and it would be like a game. You would race to see if you could find the answer and get it correct. They stopped the live game, but they made it so much better because they took all the questions that they used to use in the live game and they separated them into like culture and geography and history and science. So you could pick any of these. Let me see. Why don't we look at this one? So I can view this challenge and they're in slideshows. These make great like bell ringers, or you can make them into a whole class lesson. And I'll show you what I mean. So this one's on culture. And the question that they ask is, who wrote this in the New York Times? Playing with the net really does improve the game. Now, you could just send your kids off and have them work on this and come back, and then we can talk about what you did. Or you could go on into the hints, right? They're telling them what you need to think about is like how you might search for a quotation, what you would do. And then ultimately it will give the answer and then talk about what was the best way to search for that. And the point here is that they're saying you have to put quotes around it in order to get the right answer. You're going to get a ton of different ones. It'll give you background and further discussion on how to search for quotes. So really, if I wanted to, I could make this a whole lesson, or I could just do it as a mini lesson in the beginning. And then they will provide you with a follow-up question and for another one to try. So these are great little mini activities, or they could be full-blown lessons. It's a great resource to have, and that's a Google a Day challenge. Over here, I pointed you towards these little videos. I'm actually going to talk more about them on the next page. This one happened just to be on search terms, and the lesson plan that goes along with it is right here. But I'm going to talk about the PBS Newsroom Hour and these teen fact-checking networks in the next section. So I'm just going to give you a little browse where you can get the full lesson, and they all start with a video, and I'll talk about those in a little bit. The last thing I wanted to talk about with the search terms were Google Trends. These are kind of fun to use. You know, no eighth grader wants to look at search terms or whatever grade you're teaching. Really, nobody wants to dive into research unless it's interesting to them. And so what these trends do is they give examples. They change all the time because Google gives analytics on what are the biggest search terms in the world right now. And they will break them down by interest and days. In the United States, it's Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian right now. Worldwide, it's been the World Cup. And so you can go in and out. They also have these really cool videos that are a year in search. And so where's the list of all of them? It's very interesting to see. I think it's all the way down. Here you go. It's very interesting to see they made little videos about the most popular search terms that there were. And so it's interesting to watch the videos and see the differences from 2020 to 2021 to 2022, considering the pandemic, how our searches have changed. And it's good to start a conversation and then talk about how you might search for the things that you need and what kind of things we're looking for when we're utilizing our search term skills. So Google Trends are a really cool resource as well. All right, and that is building better searches in a nutshell. I could go on and on and on, but I want to make sure I touch on all of the pieces. So let me just, there we go. So website evaluation is my next topic. So important in this day and age, and so difficult for our students to do. However, my students will swear up and down that they know what they're doing and they can tell the difference between everything. So between fact and fiction and what is right and what isn't right, they know it all. So I gave you the slide decks to the lessons that I do to work on identifying, debunking misinformation with my kids. And they're all contain pieces of lessons that are given in these other sources that I've listed. So I'll talk to you about those as well. But I'll show you my favorite way to grab my readers' attention with a couple short little videos. And the way I start my lesson out is with this little video of the pig rescuing a baby goat. We use a little humor to get the point across that some of the things we see on the internet are totally fabricated, and then the rate at which they can spread and that people will believe them. And how this video is meant to be entertaining and fun, but when would the consequences of misinformation be more serious? And we talk about medical and we talk about politics, and you can see the rest of my presentation, and we ultimately end up talking about how to battle that, and we talk about lateral reading, right, where you not only have a website, but you open up other websites to check and verify the information and who it's coming from, and that's where we spend a lot of day two. Those lessons that I use, not the goat and the pig, that was from something else. But when I go to use my lateral reading lessons that you'll see in there, I've adapted them from the Civic Online Reasoning website. This is a wealth of information. These are awesome websites that will take you all the way through teaching this in as depth as you want, or just a surface and an introduction. In my school, we have a capstone, and I have teachers who aren't language arts teachers who are mentoring students. Students are doing research, and they're hooked up with teachers. So your mentor could be a math teacher, it could be a science teacher, and they have to help with this research. What I like about these websites is when I push out lessons for them to teach, these websites give, hold on. Let me sign in so I can access them. These websites give teacher materials that will walk you all the way through. They give slide decks that are already made. And my favorite part about them is not in this one. Hold on. Is that, I think it's in this first one. They will often give you scripts to use. So, and they say these are not intended, here we go, sample modeling script. They're not intended to be used word for word, but for somebody who is a little unsure about how to teach about lateral reading, it will walk you through what to say to the kids and how to use the resources that they suggest. And the discussion topics and answers to questions. So these sample scripts are incredible for somebody who is unsure of how to go ahead and teach that lesson. Checkology, the News Literacy Project, I can't say enough about it, how good these are. You could sign in and set up a whole classroom. It's completely free. However, the way I use it is, oh wait, let me sign in. You could build classes and then get the students' information back. But what I will often do is browse the content and just send out assignments through my own LMS that I already have, that I'm already working within. And so these are just incredible lessons. Let's see, I'll show you what one of them looks like. Which one have I used? I'm just looking for it here. Here's the misinformation lesson that I use along with the one that I have. And what you could do is you can preview this and share it out to your students. This is the website I was talking about on the first page. I love MediaWise. MediaWise is it's a cooperation between Google and local media and all kinds of important companies that are interested in digital literacy. And my favorite part of MediaWise is this teen fact-checking network. Because what they do is they have full lessons for you. And again, these could just be like little intro lessons, or you can make them full-blown class that lasts a class period or more. And they have teens who bring up important aspects of digital literacy. Like this one, don't be fooled by fake screenshots, if we're still going into what is misinformation and how do you fake things. I could just give my kids this article and this video where this teen walks us through how to spot fake screenshots and then tells you how to search for it, right? They tell you to look for links, find the original account, look for formatting errors, keyword search. Okay, so I could stop there if I wanted to. I could just give this article and be done with it. Or you can follow this to a free 1-hour lesson plan that's available here. They're all linked to full lesson plans. And over here, you'll see how to use this resource. Here's the lesson summary, walking you through how to do it. And then you can also access a full-blown lesson plan that you can then download and make your own. And it's from like introductory materials all the way through assessments at the end. There's your application and there's your assessment. And they're wonderful. And the best part is they're these teen fact checkers. So my kids like to look at them. Here's the Trick or Truth on social media. This one was about like razor blades and drugs and Halloween candy. And again, you could just use the video, or you could get the full lesson plan that would walk you through how to apply it, and everything that you need. So just another really good web resource to look at website evaluation. And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to just give you a quick overview of note-taking and organization tools. These are my two favorite ones. The free versions of them are good. The paid versions are amazing. But I'll show you what each of them does quickly. Noodle Tools is a citation generator. Let me see if I can easily get into my school account. No, I can't. Hold on. Oh, it's going to make me go all the way through. Okay. It is a citation generator where you have to plug in the pieces in order to generate the citation. Let me stop sharing for 1 minute so that I can log into that without having everyone see everything. And I'm going to show you what it looks like once I can get into my paid version. Just give me 1 moment. Okay. So not only does it help you generate citations, but it also has a lot of organization tools that will work for you. Okay, let me go back to sharing the screen. All right. Get it back up for you. There we go. So here's my Noodle Tools, and I can use it like a regular citation generator. Here, I would go in. I do have to plug in the pieces. It's not like an easy bib where I could just do the URL. I have to go back and forth, which is great for my kids because it helps them realize they need to know all these pieces in order for a citation. But after you have your citations, what's really nice is that you can link them to note cards. So here I would put down the main idea of my note card is like idea 1. And it gives me different types of notes I can take. I'm putting a direct quotation in here. I'm paraphrasing in my own words here. I'm doing my original thinking here. And then I'm saving and closing. And I can then take my note cards and I can move them around. I can color code them. I can group them together. And ultimately, I can drag and drop them into an outline, which is not wanting to work for me right now. There it goes. So I can drag and drop them into an outline. So it becomes a whole research tool. And not just a citation generator, but that is the paid version. I will tell you that my district pays like under like $600 for the whole district for Noodle Tools. So it's reasonable, but you do get the citation generator if in the free version. Now, Power Notes is another really cool one that I will demo really quickly. And again, it has the free and paid version. I do not have the paid version. I only have the free version, which lets me do one assignment at a time. I just have to turn on my Power Notes. Oh, there we go. I guess I had to move off of Power Notes. Okay, here we go. If I go to NJCU, let's go back to our tech. And I want to take notes on this website. You see how this keeps popping up? This is my Power Notes over here. And let's say I like this paragraph. I can highlight it I can put it in my background information. I could say this is important. And over here in my Power Notes, it saves that for me and it tags it with the website that I was on. So it shows me that I copied it, and this is a direct quote. It tells me my reflection on the top, and it tags it with the website that I was on. So later, if I just go to the Power Note website, I can look at my project and I can get back to all the information that I gathered. Here's all the quotes that I had taken for this project. Free version will get you one assignment, and a paid version will get you many assignments. And so I just gave you a little taste of everything. I will be more than happy to answer questions, to go into more detail. I will tell you, let me stop sharing for a moment, that if you're interested in Learnix, I'm going to do a more in-depth demo of it on coming up, and I will drop, if you're interested in that, there is a website where on Learnix, I'll put that in the chat, where you can sign up to join that workshop and see what it's like to be a student in Learnix, and then learn how to do the teacher ones. And that's coming up, I think, on the 4th. So if that interests you, you can join that too. And that is what I have for you right now. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. I know I went through things super fast, so you definitely want to get my presentation so that you can follow those links and go back into everything more in depth. Oh, I just sent it to the panelists. Hold on. Let me send it to everyone. I see that you said you didn't see my link. So here's the link that will take you to the web. I'll show you. It'll take you. Hold on one sec. It'll take you. I'm on like all different screens. Here we go. It'll take you to Learnix workshop. And if you're interested in doing that, you can sign up here. It's February 4th. And I'll go more into depth into how you put that together and how Learnix works. Okay. Are there any questions that I can answer for you? I haven't really been looking at the chat because I have like 5 different screens open. So if you asked me something earlier, I did not see it. So ask again.
Yes, everyone. So again, you can put the questions in the Q&A section or in the chat. And I also know a couple of you probably want the PD certificate. So again, you can just put your email address in there, because there's a couple of you that have been here for most of the session. So again, we have your email. If you don't want to ask a question in the chat box, you could just press the raise hand button, and Dr. McCarty or I will be glad to unmute you.
Yes.
Now, the link to the presentation, Dr. McCarty, not sure if you wanted to send me a link, because again, her presentation is being recorded and it's going to be on our YouTube channel. So that's why I posted that link in the chat box as well. So you'll be able to see that as well, because she had so many informative links. Like I couldn't even write them all down.
I know. So I will, here's what I'm going to drop in the chat box. I will put my bit.ly in there. So that will take you to my presentation so that you can go in and out of all the links. But certainly the link to this presentation will contain all the explanation that I went through.
Thank you. Okay, and again, if anybody wants to speak out, please just press the raise hand button we will unmute you. This was so informative. My goodness.
I know. I hope I didn't overwhelm you with too much, but there's so much great stuff out there. And really, you have my email address on that presentation. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
And I find that those links really help educators out because sometimes, as a teacher myself, you go on YouTube and you want something that, you're thinking of for a lesson plan. And then YouTube is like a whole world where you
Right?
just kind of get scattered. And like those links that you showed us, they're just very informative. They're straight to the point, and you don't have to just go on a million websites. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, I did all the legwork for you.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see. I'm just looking in the Q&A.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Okay, I see lots of emails being brought up. If there's no questions, Dr. McCarty, is there anything else that you wanted to cover before a wrap up?
No, that is it. Just please take some time to head on through and browse that. I'm so glad that you found it helpful, and happy to show you how to get through any of them. I know some of them can be a little tricky, but once you get to know them, they're great and useful.
And again, thank you so much for giving us all these useful tools. All right, so everyone, thank you so much for attending this webinar series. For I know that you are going to bring something from this series, this webinar right now. I have about at least 10 resources that I wrote down from what she presented today. The NJCU Ed Tech Department appreciates all of you for being here. So again, please be sure to check out what else is going on in the Ed Tech Department, for we always have so many events taking place. That link is in the chat box. You can also follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook if you type in at Educational Technology Department at NJCU. And again, Dr. McCarty's presentation today will be recorded and put on our YouTube channel. So you could take your time, press that pause button, write down everything that she said, and you could just go at your own pace. Okay.
I see there were a couple of questions I just want to answer. So Lisa,
Great.
For Learnix is free right now. It's funded by the National Science Foundation. So it is a free tool to use, which is awesome. So really, yeah, if you want to learn more about it, that webinar that's coming up is definitely the way to go. And I see, do you want to, and then what was your other, I'm going to allow you to talk, Lisa. I see a couple. Did you have some questions?
Yes, hi. This is amazing. Mind blown. Thank you so much. Which search engines would you suggest using with ninth graders? Like JSTOR, or sometimes I feel like it's a little much.
Yeah. So like the databases, for my guys, I restrict them down to, we only really use two. I use EBSCO. Which, is mostly free in New Jersey. There's a small fee, and we use Gale. I use a couple of the Gale ones, just to give them an introduction into what a database looks like. Yeah, I only go up to 8th grade, but I can't imagine that my 9th graders would be much. I would use much more with them. I would definitely restrict it. I know. I have a colleague who teaches the freshmen at the high school, and she does a whole lesson on how to navigate databases. She gives them out to groups, and different groups identify, examine them and answer a bunch of questions, and then do presentations on those databases so that they can kind of understand how they work, because they are difficult for the kids to navigate. So important that they can, because that's what they're going to use up in college. But baby steps.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Okay. Yeah, so she has them. She picks like 3 or 4, has them in groups, like investigate all the features and what it looks like, and then they present to each other what the results look like and the special features of all the ones that she uses.
Oh, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Sure.
Dr. McCarty, what's your take on Reddit? Because I know that there's some high school students, when they want to gather information on surveys, they usually put their links on Reddit. What's your take on that?
It's tricky, right? It's very tricky. I have been back and forth with my kids about Wikipedia and about Reddit and things like, you mean like put it out so that people respond?
Yes.
And use that. Yeah. You just don't know who your audience is. So it depends on what the purpose of your survey is to see how valid that would make it.
Right.
Right. It depends on what kind of research that you're doing and what you're really looking to accomplish there, because it's really just you really have no idea who you're getting back. You have no your sample is not defined in any way.
Yes, I know. And I see that that's such a popular website for high schoolers. So
yeah, it's tricky. Definitely.
Okay. Any other questions?
Let me see. Oh, good. I'm glad you signed up, Lisa. I will see you there because I'll be working on that too. I just find it such a cool tool.
Great.
All right, everyone. So we're going to wrap this up. Again, Dr. McCarty, thank you so much for all of the useful information that you gave us today.
All right. And it was wonderful. I enjoyed myself. So I hope it's so weird to talk to a screen again with no response. So I hope that I was able to communicate everything I wanted to. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right. Everyone, have a great night. And again, thank you for attending the webinar. And thank you, Dr. McCarty, for teaching us.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.